Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So in this video we will be creating together this nice looking minimalist slider with a Divi theme. Yes, as I said, yes, with a Divi theme it looks a bit different, right? It's because I've added some JavaScript and some CSS into it to make sure that it comes out the way it does. So the first thing I would do is just walk you through how it functions, and let me just go ahead here and refresh the page so that you can see. So on page load, there is this loader. Everything is working here on autoplay on page load. So it loads and then you see it loads, and then when it loads to the full, then it moves to the next slide. And then there's also this pagination thumbnails that are designed over here that slides to the next slide as it moves as well. So the active slide is the one that is on now, and then it goes to the second one. So when it reaches the fifth one, for example, you see it's the fifth, then the first one slides out, and then when it goes back to the first, then it comes back to the viewport as well. That would repeat itself, and then it would kind of autoplay and then come back to loop back to the first one. So you can actually go ahead and pause it if you want, and then you can also play if you want it to continue on autoplay. And while it is playing, if you click on any of the buttons, for example the pagination, it turns off the autoplay, and then you can just go ahead and just play with the paginations and see the changes, or you can go ahead and just scroll left or right. And when it is playing on autoplay as well, and you're using just the arrow navigations, then it also turns off the autoplay. Yeah, and that's how it works. The links work as well, and it is responsive across all platforms. So let me just show you all devices. So if you go to inspect, then let's take, for example, the mobile view with this. You see it works, and I've turned off the pagination on mobile view because it really makes no sense to have pagination on a mobile view. And on tablet, let's take, for example, the iPad Pro, and let's give it 50%, so it's also responsive. Okay, let's close this, and with that, let's start. So the first thing I've done here is that in this video, in the link in the description, I've left the link in the description, which would take you to my website. I've left a blog article where, let me just show you, where you have all the CSS. So you have the JavaScript, the jQuery code. It's quite a lot of code as well, and the CSS as well, that you can just copy to your clipboard and then you paste it where it is designated on your Divi theme options. So I've also left everything description if you don't know how to do it, how to figure out to copy and paste. And also I've left the downloadable link here where you can just download the JSON file, and then you can put it there yourself. I said JSON, the JSON file, where you can just copy it as well, where you can just download it, and then if you want to use exactly my design, then you can just copy and paste it yourself, create your own page and then you paste it. So with that said, let's move on. What you have to understand is that this, as you can see from here, the menu items are inside the slide. And for you to achieve this, I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. You might want the menu items, or you might want your menu to be independent of the slide, or you might want it to be inside here. For me, I decided to do this because it was just a designing decision. But I would walk you through on how to make the menu appear inside the slide. I mean, this is not a video about a menu, but let me just show you, and it's just a synopsis, and you can continue with doing it the way. So if I go to my back end and I go to the theme builder, This is actually the design that I made. As you can see, this is the page. It's called cats. And on the header, I designed it like this. Let me show you with the viewport. And I have two sections. One is the header for the desktop view, and the other one is for the tablet and mobile view. Okay, so normally I went in here and then I made the visibility for the desktop. I turned on the visibilities for the tablet and the phone, and then I did the same with the mobile and turned off the turn off the desktop visibility. So what you have to do here is that you have to go into both sections, and then on the background of each sections, you start with the section settings. You have to turn off you have to go to the background and turn it to transparent. Okay, and then you have to go into the row settings as well, go to the background and make it transparent as well. Then you have to go now inside the models as well. For example, here in the menu, you go there and you also turn it to transparent as well. Okay, for me, I didn't turn this one off because it's just a text. This is basically my logo, but you can do it. If you have your own logo, then you have to turn it off as well. Go to transparency. I didn't turn it off because I want the logo to be seen. So you do this, and then you do it the same process with the mobile version. And here is the trick. Here's the magic. After you finish doing that, then you go back into your section settings to both of them. You go to advanced, and then you go to position, and then you turn it. It's normally set by default to relative, I think, and then you have to set it to absolute before this can work. And then you do the same as well with the mobile menu, and then you save everything. You save it, and that is how you get this result here. Okay, but then, as I said, it all depends on what you want to do, on how you want your menu to look like. All right, so let me get this out, save it, and let's go back in here and let me refresh. I mean, it's still there, of course. And another thing that you have to consider with this slider is that the slider design is that I made it in such a way that you cannot have more than 10 slides. After 10, everything breaks, and I did that on purpose because I really do believe that with sliders, I actually don't really like sliders. I think it's just a complex process, and it also slows down your website speed. But if you have to do a slider, then it's always good that you don't do more than 5 or 6. That is my suggestion from a developer's perspective, but you can decide on what you want. So I've left it for 10 sliders, not more than 10. So put that in mind if you want to use my slider. So with that said, let's get started. I've already created, I just want this video to run as fast as possible. So I've already created a page and I named it slider 3, and we would start building this from the slider from there. So what I would do first is that I would build it in such a way that it was built by you when there is nothing. So I would go to the theme options, and let me just go there and remove the CSS, save, and then I would go to integration and I would remove the jQuery codes as well, so that you can see how things are before I put everything inside. So if I go back now and I refresh the page, then you see everything is just a normal out of the box experience for a slider, which is still okay, but then you don't have all the components that I put inside. Okay, so let's go to the page that I created, and let's turn on the visual builder and let's start building the slider there. So wait, exit the slider. What I would also suggest that you do is that in your builder, before you start building, if you go to your theme builder, turn off the the header visibility. So, and I'll explain this later. I will explain this in a second. Okay, turn it off and save. And now when I go back here and I turn on the page, and then I start from scratch. So the problem is that if I'd done that with this with the slider being or with the header being visible, then it's so difficult because I don't see anything here. There's just white everywhere because it's transparent. So it's, I mean, of course I can go in here, turn it on and work from here, but it just makes the whole thing clunky. Okay, so let me first put this here on 0. Oh, let me just go in here and do it. So the first thing we have to do is turn everything, padding and margins to 0 on the section settings so that everything lines up there. Then we go in there and then we put in our row settings. Oh, and then we take our slider. So make sure, like, just a disclaimer as well, this only works with the slider. So we take our slider, we put it in there, and then we go into row settings. We give margin of 0 so that everything lines up well, and then we give a padding of 0 as well so that everything lines up to the top and the bottom. So next thing, we go in here. I mean, it's already lined up there, so it's no worries. We delete the first one because we have to style everything first with the first one before we move to the second. So go back to the row settings, and then we go to sizing, and we make sure that it's a slider, so it has to be set to 100% width. So copy, and then on the maximum width, we paste this also to 100%, so it's full width. All right, we are advancing. So let's go in here. I mean, I'm not going to style this perfectly, but you would get the point of it. Let's just see as I put it there. We love pets. And then we go down here, and then we can say click, or we can say, what did I write on the other one? It was written more. Okay, more. Good. And what I would do is I would change this. I would go to the settings here in the slider settings, the main slider settings, and then for the title I would give it, I love this font for this, Roboto Mono. All right, and for the buttons you have to turn this on, and I would also give it Roboto Mono. Okay, let's go back to this, open this inside. I'll take this off because I don't want it to have any of that. All right, okay, now it's looking good a bit. And now let's go back to the slider, and in the background we'll set it to black because that's the best way to get everything to really work. And we go in here as well, and then we set the background to black. Okay, that is looking good. So let's go to the first slide, and for the slider you normally have the image and this, but I would do it with the background because that's the better way of actually putting an image in a slider because you have more possibilities. So let's go in here and take one of our cats. So I'll take this one, for example. You always have to make sure that you come here and then you take the full size of your photos, Then you save it. Now you see it is coming alive. But then you see that, like, yeah, somehow the white, which would be what I would be using, it's really not quite clear there on the background. So let's go to the background settings, and then we go to gradient. We turn on the gradient. First, let's put it there, and then you see the gradient there. I would give it a black gradient background, a black, and then I would turn it to there, to this, and I'll go here as well, give it a background of black as well, and turn this down. We can put it around here. Go back to the other one. I mean, this would be a decision you'll be making depending on what kind of photos you have. So it has much more of highlighting the white in the front. Okay, so we save this, and if we go now to our page and we refresh, so I have the page on the front end so that you can see it. It looks like this. Now you can see that the page is not full width. So let's go back in here, and then we go to this inside. What I did was I went to the spacing, and then I made it different for mobile, desktop, and so I think I set this, let's try, it was 200 and this is 210 and 210, so that it works perfectly. 214, and on mobile it was set to, let's actually go back and look at it how it was set, because I forgot but anyways, like, what you should be doing is, like, yeah, on mobile you see it's a bit longer than the viewport, so you can set this to, let's say, 150. 150, it works. And then that was the tablet, and then on the mobile I think I set this to 300. Oh, not 3000, come on, 300. Okay. And then save, and then you save. Now if I go back and I look at it, you always have to make sure, like, yeah, this is the interesting part, everything, it's not a one size fit all. So if you look at it here, it works, and you can go to the inspect tools, and then you can see how it looks on the other platforms. Let's go to the mobile, and then you can see that it is not really sized 100% there. So we can go back in there, spacing again, we go to the mobile, and then we make it like 320. Okay, so if we go back to the inspect tools, it is set to that. It really didn't really change that much, but I think it's looking good for now. When we add the menu items, then we would see how everything works. So now at least I know how it looks. I can go back now, save. Let me exit this so we can see how it looks. And now we can go to the theme builder, and then we can turn this on now, since we have already saved everything. So we can come back here, and then we can turn it on again, and that will not affect anything. That's completely fine. So if we save it and we look at the page, how it looks now. Wait, did I actually turn this off? Oh, I didn't turn this off yet. Let's turn this on again. Save. Then if we come back here and refresh the page, wait, sometimes you have to save these things twice. You have to actually go in there and save it again. And let's see if it works. Voila, it works now. Okay, and then we can exit this and save it. So let's see, it works now. And if we go to the iPad Pro version, you see it is, if we take it to 50%, then it's much more better. But all these changes, you have to figure out how to make it on your own. But like, yeah, that's how it goes. For example, if I go back to this, I turned it on, I can show you exactly how I did this. So it is set to border spacing, it's nothing. Sorry, it has to be this. So if you go here and you really look at it, the spacing is 220 on desktop, on mobile, on tablet is also 220, and on this is 310. Okay, let's go and work that out. So $310, right? It was $310. Okay. 310, 220, 220. Okay. So now I think it works perfectly. All right, let's go and check it out. Let's actually refresh. So you see it's much more better, and on tablet the viewport is also working. But everything would come together when we start putting in the other stuff. So that's how it works. So I can actually take this off and you can see it as it is, and then the menu items are there. So let's continue with putting in the CSS and the JavaScript so that we can actually see how it works. So you have to go back now to my website, you copy the CSS, you come in here, you go down to the theme options. Wait, what did I copy actually? I copied first the JavaScript options. So you have to go to integrations, and then you take the second one, the body, and then you paste it. You save it, and then you go back to the theme options, and then you go to the general here where you have like the CSS box. You scroll down, copy, and then you paste from the clipboard. Save it. Let's go back to this. Boom, now it works. Now we only have one, and there is nothing that is down here because we only will have one slider, but then the slider will change as well as it comes. So you can see now that it actually is much more better. If we go now to the inspection tools, then you see that it actually fits the viewport now. And if we go to the Pro, to the tablet, it actually fits the viewport even much more better. Okay, so what is next is we have to start adding the slides. So let's save this. This is not what we are looking for. Let's go back to the slider here as we were building it. So we have one slide. You can just come in here now and duplicate. And if we duplicate, you have to go back now to the background, take the background here, and then you If you're picking it from your desktop, you can take it from there. And let's take, for example, this one. I like this one. Now always make sure that you put it to full size so that it loads everything, and then you save it. All right, and let's give it a couple of slides more. Let's go to the third one. Oh, there was one thing that I forgot as well. Sorry. Let's delete this again. There was one thing that I wanted to explain in how I did the slider. So if you look at it from here, I have positioned it to the right on desktop so that it has the possibility to show you everything that is on the screen. Okay, so how we would do that is that we go here to the buttons, turn on the buttons, and then make sure that the buttons are set. You always have to come here and then make the viewport, and then on desktop it is set to, it is aligned to the left, and then you come back up to the title text, and then you also give this mobile icon here, and then you set desktop to the left. The mobile, you put it on in the middle, and you align it to center, and then desktop you align it to center as well. And then we have to go back now to this button. I forgot to do that as well. Button. And then on mobile we align it to center, and on this we align it to center as well, and on desktop it is aligned to the left. All right, done that. Now we can start adding more. So let's go back here to the background, take that, and then we can add this one, take it, put it on full. We can go back there, take the third one, and then we just have to change the background image. Let's take another one. Let's put this one. Save it, go back, take the fourth one, and let's take, for example, I mean, you get the I will not, and then let's take one more. Let's take this one, for example, or let's take this one. Saved and save. Now let's go to the front end and let's look at it now. Looks great, right? Boom. So you can see now that everything is working just fine. Perfect. And everything aligns well, and if we check and inspect, then you would see everything works just fine on the mobile. Works just fine, and it's aligned to the center. Okay. So another thing that is important here is that you might want, let me show you what I mean. You might want to turn off this, that when it loads, then this comes up later. Sometimes people would want everything to just load straight away. So you can leave it the way it is, or if you want to turn it off so that everything just loads straight away, you just have to go to your slider as well, and then go to advanced, you go to custom CSS, and then in the space of slide description you just have to type animation name, then known. Oh, sorry, with the and that's how it works. So now it turns that off. So you see, now it loads without that necessarily sliding. So it's for you to decide how you want it. If you want to turn that off, you can just go in there and turn it off as well. All right. Now, for the CSS and the jQuery, I will just walk you through a couple of things that you can see, but then you can ask me any questions and I'll figure out how to help you with that. So for the integration, what is important here for the integration is this visibility thumbnail. You can increase it. I made it in such a way that it's good, either it's for 3 or for 4. So if you reduce it to 3, I mean, it will not come. You have to make some changes as well, but let me show you. If you reduce it to 3, then it becomes 3 thumbnails. And maybe you prefer it to be that way. It all depends on what you want. So I like it to be 4 because 4 has just a ring to it. I don't know. So you have to come back here where you have the line 11. All right. I'll put it back to 4 as I preferred it. That's what you can change there, at least. And then if you go now to the CSS, I think I will just make a dedicated video, completely different dedicated video to explain how the CSS works. And what I would do as well is that I'm making a new video because I had a completely different approach to it, where this play and pause buttons and the loader would all be in one button. So that's the next video I would do. It's just a very simple thing, but I will just put the CSS and the JavaScript code, and everything here would be in one button so that it loads. I think it's even a much more better way of presenting it, right? So with that said, with the CSS, I have made it in such a way that I've just wrote everything there. I painstakingly went ahead and wrote like comments to where you can make changes. And for example, what I did as well was that I made sure this was not only a designing decision, but also a decision that will make it easier for you. There's only 2 colors here, white and black. So the FFF and the 0000, so that you can actually figure out where, if anywhere, I think there's one place that has like gray, but everywhere where you want to make changes to the colors, you would always just see, for example, it's white here or black. Okay. And where I don't put white and where I have to put just the codes, I'll take an example, blah, 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 blah. You would see the color code. The color code is either white here for everything, or it's black, but it's simple. I've made it in such a way that most of the codes, I've made it white. I just wrote it as text, so you just have to maybe delete it and then put black or whatever, so it's easy for you. Then if you want to put another code, then you just have to you take this out and then you copy the color code and then you paste it there, so it's easier for you to figure out everything. And the other stuffs here, you can actually just figure it out yourself. I think you can leave a comment in this video if you have a problem or if you have a question with the code, and I would go ahead and explain it to you. But basically, I made this video just for those who want to just use this like something on the fly. So thank you very much. I hope this video helped. I'm sorry, I still have this thing I'm learning. I'm still going through the learning curve of learning how to actually make videos here on YouTube. But I hope this helped. If you really like the video, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be making a lot more videos with the Divi theme and other WordPress thingies. You can subscribe to my channel. That will really help me. And you can also like the video. That would also help me as well. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.